Let me see. I think it's showing. So I don't know if you guys saw this show. So this show here, it said you want to go to jail, you want to go home. So everybody on the panel has been to jail and or prison before, right? And I don't know if I need to play it as much as I need to show it, the premise of the show specifically, right? Because more so it's talking about what happens in there, do's and don'ts, etc., right? This segment here is simply talking about the things that you love and like you cherish being in there as opposed to being home. So this particular segment, like Sporty's is talking first, and he's essentially saying, yo, letters, like old school mail was like so-called Christmas every day if you got a letter. You had women sending you letters, they put perfume on it, all types of shit, you know? And you just cherish those type of things. You know what I mean? You know, from the phone to going outside, there's lockdowns. You got 23-in-1 where you just glad to take a shower, etc., right? Do we ever call the people that are doing harm to our communities coons? Because when we think through the term, right, would that not be the perfect fit? If I'm shooting, robbing, killing, doing the negative in my community specifically, right? Wouldn't that make me a coon? Selling dope, etc. Wouldn't that make me a coon?
But by their definition, it should make you one. And that's the reason why the people who use the word coon, they're the biggest hypocrites on planet Earth. These are the same people that will call Candace Owens a coon, but won't call the drug dealer that's out destroying his community or her community a coon just because they pass out turkeys on Thanksgiving. The same people that will look at a Meg Thee Stallion concert, her twerking on stage and disrespecting the image of black women, they won't call her a coon. These are the same folks. They're hypocrites. There is no definition to the word because the example that you just gave is Exhibit A of it's just up. The word is just up for grabs. Anybody can be a coon, except for who you want it to be.
Mm-hmm. No. What y'all
think?
think?
And Candace Owens is a patriot, by the way. I just needed to throw that out there. She's a patriot.
No doubt. What y'all think? Gunny just lined out what he thinks. Because I don't know if we ever looked at it in that way. Right? If we ever looked at it in that way. Right? Because what would it be? Doing harm to your people? Putting your people in a bad light? Furthering the stereotypes that get your people disparaged? Becoming a...
If I could add to that, Han, we've been, because you know why? Because we've been conditioned. We've been conditioned to accept our own destruction. We've been conditioned to it. We've been conditioned to accept our image of our women being whores. We've been conditioned to accept the image of our men being thugs. Our men are put on pedestals. They call OGs and all these different things. If they've been to prison, if they destroyed their communities, they're praised. If they've been in a gang, they're praised if they're exposing their bodies. We've been conditioned to think this way. What's right is wrong and what's wrong is right. So this whole coon talk and the people, they're a sellout nerd. The sellout's right in front of your face and you can't see it. You can't see it.
Now, what about the part of the coon definition? What about because do we agree that there's a level of pandering to the other races to qualify?
Absolutely.
I think so. I think that's one of the key components.
Okay. So if so, does the nigga in the hood doing this thing, the jail nigga, does he qualify? Go ahead, Aaron.
Hello, panel. Greetings, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What's going on?
And Semper Fidelis to the Gunnery Sergeant of Marines. Right. So I think I appreciate Gunny's enthusiasm, right? I don't think it fully drives home the definition, but it certainly contributes to it. What am I saying? What he's describing is a nigger. Okay. A coon is closer to a Sambo. See, a Sambo, I believe what he does is he gets on stage and panders to white folks. That's it. Right? He's entertainment for the white people. A coon, what he does is he highlights or denigrates the actions of niggers in order to pander to white people and to make them feel comfortable and to placate them. Niggers don't necessarily have any interest in pandering to white folk. They just act like park apes, right? But they certainly provide ammunition to coons to go pander to white people. So you need a nigger and a Sambo to equal a coon.
Shit like that.
Okay.
I can rock with that.
Yeah.
So now I want to add something to that. How would it be considered cooning if your only audience ever is us? You know what I'm saying? So like say everything we just got done saying, but
that's what he
okay,
said.
like everything we just got done saying, if the only audience is nothing more than black people, no white people are even in sight, just all black people all the time that you going around and you speaking this on.
I think that's his point.
You a nigger. That's why I make the distinction. You just on some shit.
Yeah. No, that was actually good, Aaron. I ain't gonna hold you, because even when I thought, I'm like, okay, but the fact that you essentially you get the prison industrial complex funded, et cetera, the judicial system funded, right, by us going to court and continuing. A lot of people got jobs because of that. But you were saying it's almost like cannon fodder, essentially, for the coon to say, you see these niggas going to jail, you see these niggas going to prison, and the nigga going to prison saying fuck the police, fuck these crack, right? He's saying that shit, so he ain't doing it intentionally. Okay, yeah,
I'll be curious to know. I'll be curious, and I appreciate that breakdown, Aaron. I'd be curious to know where the Louis Farrakhan's or the Geno Jennings, those type of people, where do they fall? They fall into a separate category. I'd be interested to hear your take on that.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Good question, and I think now we're getting into the debate.
Theory, stay in the back, all
right? Between Jay and Chuck, right? Great question. Now it really boils down to intent and proximity. What does that mean? If you're someone that is deeply entrenched in the black community and you're pro-black community and you're using facts to make corrections within the black community by highlighting flaws and discrepancies in the black community, which is what a lot of people think, let's say, a Farrakhan would be, then you are more like, dare I say it, Jesus did the same thing. You know what I mean? They say he was not an easy man to get along with all the time, and he would highlight flaws, but he loved his people and was a man for and of his people. Right? It was for the people. He loved people, and wanted people's souls to be saved, essentially, but was not like Mr. Nice Guy willing to pander to the world. Hey, tell you about yourself, right? So I think it's more like that. It's all about intention and your proximity to your people. You start stepping close to the outside, then your intentions get put into question. What are you doing here? Why are you talking shit about us? Because I talk shit about black people, niggas and bitches alike, which is why I use those words very specifically to identify niggas and like you niggas and bitches. But no one will ever say I don't love black people, and I'm not trying to genuinely make a correction, and I don't live by the results of these corrections.
Damn. What y'all think? This is fantastic. What's following?
Yo, what up? What's going on, man? Shout out to everybody.
My bad, man. That's good.
Yeah, man. Wow, Aaron on the niggas and bitches. That's the first time I heard that one. But yeah, man. Listen, I'll be considered a coon of coons, because like Aaron, I'm sick and tired of you niggas and you bitches. I'm sick and tired of them.
Wait, Mr. Fantastic. Before you go too far, do you qualify, Big Aaron? Do you qualify Mr. Fantastic as a coon?
I personally don't know. I don't think I've not seen him do anything that would qualify him as a coon. I've never seen him pander to white people specifically, or say or do anything about black people to benefit him in the eyes of white people. No, that's that Sambo piece that's missing. He might look like him, but no, I've not seen him do anything like that. I love you, Mr. Fantastic.
Appreciate you, brother.
You know I do. Yeah.
Appreciate you. Light skin, dark skin relations, brother. We keep hope alive. Now, yeah, man. Listen. Yeah, man. I said this repeatedly. You know, I don't have a white audience. I didn't jump on the very, very lucrative black conservative money train, any of those things. Whenever I speak about black people, I'm speaking about my ability, my children's ability to get throughout society without hassle, without being stereotyped, without being seen as, niggas and all these other things, so on and so forth, right? I understand the importance of the part of the whole, but at the same time, adhering to and holding a standard, right? That's why I represent myself the way I represent myself. So nobody can I can't be a coon when y'all don't call the drug dealer, killer, gorilla niggas a coon, right? Those are the biggest coons, but because y'all scared of them, and it's a fear and an infatuation, this weird thing of where they love the ain't shit niggas. That again, this is why we talk about this. It's not because they get all the pussy and all this other. No, bro, it's just the fact of the matter that those dudes represent black people. They represent me, and I don't want them niggas represent me. You know what I'm saying? For a point in time, and everybody got mad when I said what I said about George Floyd, St. George. Bro, if you typed in black man, George Floyd popped up. Outside of dying in a police interaction, the dude was a habitual criminal, fuck up, and just horrible human being. But because he died by the hands of a cop, they literally deified the dude. You know what I'm saying? So you mean to tell me you can live a whole life of just criminality, debauchery, junkiness, addiction, and then get exalted to the representation of black men in a Google search simply because of, you know what I'm saying? And again, I never ever said he should have died. Never should have said he deserved what he got. But again, shit happens. Niggas die every day, B. And niggas only care when niggas die if a white man's doing it. We have the highest, okay, murder rate of each other. All right. Highest. All right. That's a problem. You got 6 times more white people than, not 6, but 5 times more white people than black people. Yet and still, at some points in times, we have a higher murder rate than white people altogether. And then y'all talk this shit about, the white man, bro, more black people kill white people than white people kill black people. Y'all was having a conversation the other day about the police brutality thing and RP to Miss Massey, right? Massey is her name. That was completely totally fucked up. I just can get on and talk about that, but that was completely totally uncalled for. I'm not a back to blue guy. I'm a, hey, what's legal is legal, what's right is right, and then there is some gray area in between there. Some laws are stupid, you know what I'm saying? But should you ever be worried about your safety if you call the police to your home for, especially when you're not the criminal? No. But at the same time, fuck 12 and fuck the police, and this is our culture. This is what black people that aren't even in the street. Like I said, we said this. What I say, I give you maybe 5% of black people are really in the street, in the trenches, in the traps, in the bandos. You know what I'm saying? Putting pistols on niggas and that type shit. That's a very, very small percentage of black people. But yet and still, it represents, I would say, at least a 51% representation of what a black man is and what blackness is. So as long as we got that problem, man, I'm gonna talk my shit. Nigga, I earned it. I made it this motherfucking far. My bad, go ahead.
Well, so Big Aaron was saying that the guys in the streets ain't coons, they're niggers.
That's just, no, they're both. They're both.
He's saying they're not pandering to white people though, or anybody.
I guess that's where I differ at. Is you don't have to have the pandering of the what's the name, because the definition of coon, as black people say it, is you're a detriment to your own community, right? You are saying disparaging things, and you're putting out whatever because simply by words, correct? That's the general sentiment.
Aaron, I don't know. Say it again.
From the conversation I heard you guys saying, and you using the Candace Owens situation, you guys are saying Candace Owens was such a big issue and problem because she had a public negative view of
The
black
pander,
people.
the pander, I think, is the key. You can't eliminate that part.
Well, no, I don't think. Well, no, they said.
Oh,
my bad. Go ahead, Jalen.
Aren't the ones that are perpetuating the criminal stereotype of black people pandering? They're indulging in what the white people believes that we are.
Yeah, they're doing the progress in the city. That's what they're doing.
Do they? What? But
they're doing it all
the key, but there's no gain. Are they gaining something from it?
Personal gain,
it's a crime, I would assume.
It's all about intention.
I'm thinking too hard. You're right. I'm thinking too hard.
It's personal gain at the expense of black people.
They go to jail.
Drugs, personal gain at the expense of whether they're thugging, personal gain at the expense of black people. If they're cooning, personal expense at the expense of black people. It's all the same.
Yes, it's the same thing. And Ham, like you said, bro, it's not even a 50% conviction rate on murders, bro. You don't got a 50% clearance rate in some of these places with murders, the worst of worst crimes. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So when we talk about that, yeah, hey, do some people get locked up? But does every criminal get locked up? No. How many niggas you know that you know what I mean? They in and out. Motherfuckers got 37 charges, bro. Motherfuckers done been in a courtroom, done been to jail, but ain't never seen a prison. You feel what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying, man. It's levels to this, and those are the biggest coons. Those are the people that poison their own community. Those are the people that use the white man as an excuse. Oh, it's poverty. It's poverty. It's poverty. Well, the trailer parks ain't killing each other up. They might be motherfucking getting high. They're getting high. They that fentanyl. They might, some self-induced shit. But the violent crime is not the same. And my bad. Go ahead.
No, I'm just trying to jump in before you finish. I don't want. But go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, I was just gonna say this. Niggas love to use the white man as a scapegoat for the most cooning shit ever. Like I said, we can't complain about the police when the less than 1% of black people are killed by the fucking police, and then you got the 99% that happen every day: men, women, children, elderly, everybody, and nobody gives a fuck.
How dare you say that, Mr. Fantastic?
So
how dare you say that less than 1% of unarmed blacks die by the hands of police?
Because he cooning.
Well, no. Well, what is an apologist?
An apologist in what sense, Aaron?
The sense of the conversation we're having. Where would an apologist fit?
Well, an apologist for white. That's what.
No, we're identifying the different categories of black people. So is it possible to have a black? And then the next question is, where's the victim?
Okay, so the apologist, I guess, for black people would be the person that's saying, "Forgive us for niggas being niggas." Am I on the right track?
Right, and then where would the victim be?
Well, the victim in that would be.
No, period. Where do you have placed the victim?
Oh, I don't know.
The apologist and the victim are on the same plane. They're on the same level. Both of them are. The same way
the victim
described it, from my interpretation, the N-word and the coon. They're all on the same level. The apologist makes excuses for white folks, makes excuses for history, because you can't erase history and how we ended up here. The victim always talks about the white man this and the white man that, and I can't do anything because of the white man. They're all on the same level. But unfortunately, we have people that espouse the talking points that Mr. Fantastic did, like the Louis Farrakhan's, like the Geno Jennings, like these people who you don't hear anything from. They get rid of them and they place them in a space where you can't hear them, and that's for a reason.
So the victim is to the nigga with the apologist is to the coon, right? I don't necessarily equate the nigga and the coon as the same, because the benefit that a coon gets from nigga behavior is from the white man directly, and he's not interested in engaging in coon and nigga behavior, because then the cost would outweigh the benefit. The cost to even create the narrative that a nigga exists that he's going to use to pander to the white man is going to completely wash out whatever leverage he has in pandering. He's trying to make the white man convinced that I'm okay because I'm not like those niggas over there.
So Aaron,
But a nigga,
respectfully explain Sexy Red then.
Well, I don't know her well enough, but I don't know her, so I don't look at, like, when I see that
Her
thing coming down.
caricature as an artist. Her character as an artist, not her personally.
Hold on, Jay, that's not true. Hold on, that's real quick.
Up here among a couple of other random women, I would not be able to pick her out.
Okay.
Yeah, but hold on, but to,
I have no idea.
Jalen's point. No, Jalen's point. Jalen. That's her real life. That's her real life. That's not a caricature. It's really who she is.
I don't know that. That's why I said caricature. I can't say that's her real life because I don't know.
What I'm telling you, she's shown it. That's her real life. That's really her, and she just got promoted. Folk from that area, that's her for real. She has. This is documented. So what happens, Jalen? And I'm glad you brought or Gunny brought her up, right? And this is what happens. So now you get a person that is this horrible representation of blackness. They get sponsored, right? Yep. Again, black women especially, right? Eating ass. Again, I don't know how and why black women became the face of man ass eating. Jalen,
now, what you're saying is true, what you're talking about would be a plant, and a plant is 100% a coon. Where the white man says, here's what I want you to do. I want you to behave a Park 8 so that we can continue to denigrate your people, or that's what a sellout is.
Yeah.
So Eric,
and coons look alike, but a coon wrote the contract that he signed. A sellout signed a contract wrote by white folks. But niggas don't give a fuck about white people. They only give a fuck about their personal gain off the backs of hurting black people, period. The white people exist or not.
Quick question, Eric. So if the white man wasn't the middleman and it was a black man, she wouldn't be a coon anymore?
I don't know, Sexy Red. What am I trying?
No. I mean, from your answer, from what you just said, you said a white man. She signed a white man's contract. So replace that with a black man. If it was a black man, would she still be a coon?
I didn't say she. I said who signed the contract.
Well,
it depends on the difference between coon,
sellout,
and a sellout. That's not gender specific. I don't know the she.
No, I wasn't making it gender specific.
Well, you just said he and she. What?
She was just using Sexy Red.
Sexy Red within your answer. I wasn't trying to.
I can't answer questions regarding Sexy
Red. The misunderstanding.
Yeah.
I guess the point is, if you sign a contract written by a black man that, for all intents and purposes, make you a sellout, are you a coon?
Yeah.
No. A white. You have to sign a contract written by a white man that makes you a sellout.
Okay. So if it's written by a black man, but everything in that contract makes you a sellout, are you a coon? Are you a sellout or a coon at that point?
Sellout.
It depends on where the black man came from. Does the black man work for white men, or is the black man that wrote the contract black people interested? Because if you wrote if you sign a contract by black people for black people, in the interest of black people, then you pro-black.
100%. What it is let me do it, Jay. So essentially, the contract is written by a black man owned by a black company, and then it says in this contract, your conduct and your representation is that of a Sexy Red.
I don't know Sexy Red. What is her conduct?
She's a little Kim on steroids.
Okay, then yeah, you are just on some nigga shit. If that company hasn't signed a contract or owes its existence to pandering to white people. If it's all in-house black, it's just corporate level nigga shit.
So another race has to be involved for you to qualify for coon shit.
So there you go.
I say no more. Trigger Mike, what's popping?
What up? Y'all can hear me? I haven't
yeah, you good.
A minute. What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon.
What's good?
Man, I just finished grading some papers, man, and this is interesting to me. Because this is everybody's individual thought based off of their individual experiences. But I think you may have done this in the beginning, but I think the conversation is so in the depths now that I think we're forgetting the objective. Is anybody giving an objective description of what coon means?
Yeah, we tried. It was 6 different people, similar definitions. I think we got the gist of it. So let's say yours aligns with that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I will say just simply the way I've heard that term used basically by most people, coon is a term of black supremacy. The same way nigga lover and jungle fever is a term of white supremacy. All right. Black supremacists use coon because in order to get that term, like if you're somebody who does well as a black person and you do anything to invalidate the feelings of black people and it involves a white person, you are then a coon. Doesn't matter what it is. Black supremacists love to call you a coon because you don't hate white people. You are not allowed as a black person to have an objective thought that invalidates the feelings of blacks. Right? So that's the way I have generally heard the term used. Candace Owens, other people, because you can ask them. Most of the things that they're saying are objective. You know, we talk about crime, all this stuff. A lot of this is based in fact, right? So if you say anything objective and it's not siding with black people or validating their pain, you're automatically a coon. Right. So I think that's where I really hear that term used most. It's like, let's put it this way. Malcolm X called MLK a coon. Who got a statue in DC? Who is the representation of all things civil rights for blacks? Right. So that's what I mean.
But wouldn't that make so the fact that he was inclusive, right? And Malcolm called him a coon, Malcolm would have been correct.
What I'm saying is that somebody got to be bold enough.
Coonan got him a statue, essentially, is what you just said.
No, what I'm saying is that was he really a coon? See, men don't get. I think the credit doesn't get, the story doesn't get told until you die.
Sure.
So I think reading the story of Malcolm X, he was a black supremacist, right?
And he was a coon, but he started out as a coon. He was one of the worst niggas to ever walk the earth.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, as what we know now, like about their story, the most notable parts of their story. But it just looked like the person that was willing to work and play both sides and be bipartisan, you see what I'm saying, was MLK. So it's like he was a coon until everybody realized his sacrifice. Both of them love black people immeasurably.
No, what it is he could pander, be qualified as coon, but coons get access. Right. Exactly. And so it could have raised his level of success. Doesn't make him not a coon.
Yeah, but this is why my point of contention is, so if you do anything concerning white people, you the coon. You can't.
We're trying to understand, bro.
That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. You can't say that because again, had it not been for white folks, you'll still be in chains and on the plantation. Exactly. You have to go to the other side, bro. Whenever there's opposing things or whatever, so on and so forth, you can't just yell and you in an echo chamber. We can't all just sit here and be like, man, it's fucked up, man, it's fucked up, man, it's fucked up. Nothing's never gonna change that way. You have to literally go to the other, one or two ways. You either gotta take that shit or you gotta motherfucking, you know what I'm saying? You have to make some type of agreement. You have to come to terms with the other party. And usually when you have a huge power dynamic, it's not cooning because again, you could try to go to war, but then everybody dies.
Well, what I'm saying is Malcolm is not an idiot. He called him a coon for a reason. We can't invalidate. So if I say it, that's one thing. Y'all can say, Hamp, shut the fuck up. If Malcolm said it, you got to understand why he said it.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying, and this is the problem that comes with Malcolm. Again, Malcolm called him that because for one, and you got to put it in proper context, right? So Malcolm's understanding of Islam or the nation NOI, whatever it was at that time, was what it was, right? Malcolm also at the end, when he finally went and learned true and went to Mecca, he had a totally different outlook on what Islam was. So when he was giving his comments on MLK, that was from the separatist part in the strictly NOI, what Elijah Muhammad teachings, right? You had pretty much this group of people that were trying to, I wouldn't call them a black supremacist things, but make people maintain and be independent and not wanting to, which I agree with, wanting to be like the white man, okay? Even though MLK was fucking all them white hoes, you know, it wasn't a part of the thing where he wanted to be like the white man. He saw it as, hey, things need to be equal. We need to do this. In order to do this, I have to deal with white people eventually. Furthermore, he too had a realization, and once he changed his message up, they sent his ass to Uncle Charles. Once he started that, I've sent my people into a burning building shit, and he actually started telling the history and things like that. So I think we have two brothers.
Look at it though.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So, well, what I'm saying, what based on you running it down, which you pretty accurately did so, based on him changing his message, he agreed. Do you think that he agreed that he was cooning?
No, I don't ever think he agreed that it was cooning. I think what he understood was that he had too much of a lofty trust of humanity. That's what it was. You know what I'm saying? He was a peaceful guy. You know what I'm saying? And he used it with the basis of, you know, Christianity, turn the other cheek and all this other shit. And Malcolm X was like, hey, listen, you would turn your ass into the motherfucking ambulance.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So again, you have nonviolence and whatever, which is just, you know what I'm saying, juxtaposing philosophies. There have been nonviolent people, you know, throughout history. People that just refuse to, you know what I'm saying, hey, they can take some ass whoopings. I don't know. But I just think that you can't just boil it down to coonery when most of the things in life that's happened that way has been two different sides, opposing sides coming together in the middle and figuring something out.
And let me just add this last part because I brought up Malcolm and Martin for a reason. Y'all notice how Martin changed at the end. He changed all his rhetoric around. That's why I brought him up. Cooning in modern time is really like collaborating. If you want to be an elite black, blacks don't have the infrastructure in this country at present for you to do everything with black people.
Right.
That we don't. So Martin said, shit, if I want anything, I have to collaborate. But in that collaboration, he realized he was giving up too much of his identity to them, to gratify them, which can be perceived as cooning. So we got to make the sacrifices to build our own infrastructure within ourselves, our own trucking companies, our own steel mills. You see what I'm saying? So I think most people turn back around and be like, oh, no, if you go collaborate too much, they might start asking for things that I feel like I'm giving up too much of my identity, too much of my worth, too much of my labor. You can't have that when I can build it within my own people. So unfortunately, right now, I think a lot of black people get the term coon slapped on them because they have no other choice but to collaborate with the other side. And that helps their image and not ours.
That collaborative word is the difference between coon, because if you're collaborating with the other side with the intention to bring up the black community, that's not cooning, that's just misplaced effort. Cooning, you're denigrating your people to gain personal leverage with white people.
Well, who's to say you're doing one over the other? How do we know what the person's intentions are?
Well,
who's to say that they're trying to appeal to the other side, or whether they're trying to collaborate to come to a greater outcome? Who's to say?
And Gunny, here's to your question right now. Anybody can go into anything with any intent. And that's where I say you end up giving up too much. They got you by the balls, right? If you get your first contract and you have to get it through a white company, right? You have to get it through them.
Waterman, I'm gonna bring you back up. I'm just rotating y'all a little bit. That's all. We got a couple people in the back.
And you have the intention to create other black companies. They will start to do things to where you cannot spread your wings anymore. And then when people come to you like, you're gonna show some love, they made it so my survival now depends on them. Right? So that's why people leverage. If we don't create our own apparatuses, our own business, our own infrastructure, they will leverage our participation so we can't spread it out to our own people. And that's when your people will call you a coon, because they choked you off at the point where you could have helped others to keep that labor for themselves. So, I think the term coon gets misused so much for black people who have no other choice if they want to advance. Now, if you see people actually cooning, like, yeah, you niggas better get it together, like they're advocating against black people for white entertainment, that is absolutely cool.
Right.
But I think there's levels to
it. Yeah.
You're saying so you're saying that people can be accused of coonery when they're absent of choice in order to advance?
There is no black elite, but if you go ahead, that doesn't have to go through that. If you are elite in black, you know me. I'm a federal firearms dealer. What black wholesaler can I go get guns from?
What does that mean, elite, though?
Meaning, if you want to be rich and you want to be a part of any supply chain, any system, any infrastructure where you become the face of anything.
Yeah.
Right. So
you have to. What do you have to do?
Scale? In fact, let me break it down this way. If you want to scale a company to the point where you have employees and commercials on TV, that's really what I mean.
Extremely limited opportunities outside of white people, Asian people, or whoever else.
And you're talking about people who do business with get accused of cooning.
I think they call them sellouts more than a coon.
So think about it this way, yeah.
All of those colloquialisms.
If I open a super mega gun store and my investors are white, and I say, you know what, black women bought 64% of all guns post 2020, 64% of them. These are the numbers I did when I wanted to start a gun range. So I'm going to do commercials catering to black women so they could buy more guns. And because I have white investors, they say, no, we don't really want to. No, that's not the image we want. Now I can't help my people because I took money from them, even though I had a vision for my company the whole time to be black. So people are going to accuse me of cooning because I can't exercise my vision the way I want to.
Yeah, that's what the optics look like, but that's not what's happening. Your intentions were one thing, optics or another. That's the difference.
All right, I got another video I want to play. Callie, I know you clicked the link, and Tiff, you just clicked. I want to comment on something you heard.